Hi, Luke Davidson again, summer missionary intern to Alaska, the great land. This is the second update I've given for everybody who's curious and wants to keep up to date about what's going on with my internship. But before I go ahead with the update, I'm going to go ahead and give a little bit of information about myself. Like I said earlier, I'm going to give bits and pieces about myself, about who I am and what I've been doing. And so I'm going to go ahead and tell you about my testimony, how I came to Jesus Christ. So I was born in Michigan. I was raised by a good Christian family, and they took me to Christian school, and they took me to church. I went to Bible club. I memorized verses. So I was a good kid in that I went to church and I knew a lot of head knowledge about Christianity. In reality, if you knew a little bit about me with my childhood, I was actually a bad kid. In fact, I was so bad, I was almost kicked out of preschool. That's something you don't hear every day. But as I went to Bible school, and then I came back from Bible school one night, my older brother took me aside right before we went to bed, and he wanted to tell me about salvation. And so I went along with it. I prayed this prayer, and I remember I said, well, I don't feel anything different. I don't think I really was different. I didn't really understand the gospel message. In fact, I wasn't really even concerned about eternal things. It really wasn't until a few years later, when I was about 8 years old, I went to Camp Kobiak in Michigan, where I'm from, and one of the first messages there, I was convicted. I was starting to think more about eternal things, if you will. And there I saw that I was a sinner on my way to hell, and I didn't want to go to hell. Instead, I wanted to go to God, to be with God in heaven. And so my counselor took me aside, and he told me about the things that I heard, and I wanted to make sure that I was sure of my salvation. And so it was right there that I understood the gospel, and the Lord came to my life, and the Holy Spirit came to live inside me forever. And I knew that there was only one way to God, and that was through Jesus Christ. John 14:6, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. And Jesus also said in John 3:16, For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. And so it was there that I finally became a Christian, a follower of Christ, and that led to a long road of sanctification to be conformed to the image of Christ. And so I wasn't perfect, but I was learning slowly what Christ's likeness is. It was when I was about 12 years old that I obeyed the Lord in believer's baptism as a demonstration of my faith to my church. And when I was about in ninth grade, the Lord had me to go to Camp Kobiak again. And I was dead set on military aviation. I wanted to become a military pilot, despite my parents' concerns about spirituality and morality in the United States military. And also my former pastor, at that time, was praying earnestly that the Lord would call me away from the military and to full-time vocational ministry. I didn't think that would happen, but I tell you what, if you doubt that God answers prayer, I don't doubt that God answers prayer because of his prayers, I'm pursuing full-time ministry. The Lord got a hold of my heart again at Camp Kobiak, and I decided to start pursuing full-time ministry. And so, yes, the Lord does answer prayer, and here I am at Bob Jones University studying to become a missionary. So I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about more of the updates regarding Alaska, my internship. I finally have an itinerary set in stone. I'm going to fly into Anchorage about June 10th, and I'll stay with the Clarks. I'll actually be going to the Alaska team meeting in Wasilla, just a little bit up north from Anchorage. And I'll go back down to Iliamna with the Clarks, stay there with them until about July 19th to 20th. Then I'll go over to Sterling, Alaska, where Higher Ground Baptist Bible Camp is, camp director Eric Locker. And I'll serve there. I'll be preaching to the little kids. The first week and the second week I'll be assisting with the family camp. And then about July 29th I'll be flying back from Anchorage. So that's a little bit of what the itinerary is. June 10th I fly in. I stay with the Clarks till July 19th or 20th. Then I stay with Higher Ground Baptist Bible Camp for 2 weeks, and then I fly back July 29th. And so as far as support, there's still a lot of moving parts involved. My church in Michigan has a fund that they're collecting money, and that's going to close in just a couple days, March 3rd. And once it closes, I'll have a more solid idea of where I stand financially as it relates to my internship. But let me go ahead and say this. The best thing that you can give to me right now is your prayers. Prayers that I can keep preparing for this internship in the midst of academics. Not only just researching about the people of Alaska, but also making outlines and lessons for the VBS that I'll be helping the Clarks with, but also preaching at Iliamna Baptist Chapel, and also as I minister in Sterling at Higher Ground Baptist Bible Camp. The missionaries, the Clarks, would also appreciate your prayers on the construction of the aircraft hangar. There's a lot of moving parts there, lots of planning, and also they would appreciate prayers. They try to get other moving parts in order, such as VBS, and so they would appreciate your prayers there. So that's pretty much what's going on right now. I appreciate your prayers. Thank you for your prayers, and thank you for your support. Until next time, I will give you another report. Thank you.